Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and good day. Okay, I'm Dr. Sabaria Yaakob from International Business Department, University Utara Malaysia, and today we will be talking about International Business, MOOC, Massive Open Online Course, and specifically I will talk about Chapter 8, Regional Economic Integration. Chapter 8, Regional Economic Integration. Now, what do I want you to learn after we have finished this course, right? Or rather this chapter. Now, you should be able to explain the different levels of regional economic integration. Second, you should be able to understand the economic and political arguments for regional economic integration. Third, you should be able to understand the economic and political arguments against regional economic integration. And lastly, you should be able to explain examples of regional economic integration across the world. Now, what is regional economic integration? By definition, this is an agreement among countries in a geographic region, now I stress geographic, to reduce and ultimately eliminate barriers to trade, both non-tariff and tariff, to promote free flow of goods, services and factors of production between the countries, the member countries. Now, what is tariff and non-tariff barriers? Tariff, for example, are import tax. Non-tariff are, for example, administrative or bureaucratic barriers to the free flow of goods into the country or outside of the country, right? And there are three factors of production: people, capital, and land. Now, there are several levels of economic integration. The basic one is the least integrated, while it progresses higher into the most integrated. Now, the basic one is called a free trade area, and it progressed to customs union, common market, economic union, and political union. Now, let me explain to you one by one what these are, right? First, the free trade area. This is the most basic level of integration. Now, in a free trade area, the barriers to trade of goods and services, only two, goods and services among members are removed, which means that goods and services are free to move in and out of the country. But in a free trade area, the members have their own trade policies with other non-members. An example of a free trade area is NAFTA, North American Free Trade Area. Now, the second level is called customs union. This is where the characteristics of a free trade area is enhanced, where the internal barriers to trade are removed, and plus a common external trade policy is adopted, which means that, say for example, NAFTA just now, America, Canada, and Mexico. Now, in custom union, America, Canada, and Mexico all three of them will have to agree among each other on how much to charge for the import tax of certain goods into their country. Now, if they agree to charge 17%, then all three must charge 17%. All right. Now, the third one, is a common market. Now, in a common market, it has the characteristics of free trade area and a customs union, plus factors of production. All three are now allowed to move freely between the countries, which means that if you want to work in US, if you're from Mexico and you want to work in US, you're free to go. Right? We don't need work permit, or maybe a bit of paper is needed, but it is quite free to move between the countries. Now, an economic union is similar to common market, plus they have a common currency. An example is your European Union, where they have a common currency called the euro, and they also harmonize the tax rates. Right? Now, the most integrated is called the political union. It has all the characteristics of all the four levels just now, plus it has a central political apparatus that coordinates the economic, social and foreign policy of all the member countries. In fact, this is actually like functioning as a country. Now, not everybody likes regional integration. Right? But there are people who likes regional integration. So you have two cases for international regional integration. When I say case 4, This is where people want to regionally integrate. They want regional integration. Now, there are two reasons why people want regional integration. The first reason is the economic reason, and the second reason is a political reason. Now, for the economic reason, now imagine, if you sign an agreement with members of of your nearby countries, right, and you are free to trade with each other, right? Now, these countries will actually gain from free trade and investments. Right? Now, the political case for integration, the second reason is that when you actually make friends with your neighbors, it creates an incentive for political cooperation, and it reduces potential for violent conflicts, which means that you are not likely to fight with your neighbor if you have a trade agreement between both of you. Now, but however, there are people who does not like regional integration. To them, regional integration causes their national sovereignty to disintegrate. There are concerns over national sovereignty. What is national sovereignty? It means that you, as a nation, if you are sovereign, you are actually free to decide what you want to do with your country. But there are concerns that if you sign an agreement with somebody else, they have a voice in how you run your country. This is a concern for those who does not like regional integration. Right? The second reason is that they are afraid that when you sign an agreement, the trade creation the trade diversion in the member country will outweigh the trade creation effects. Now, what is trade creation and what is trade diversion? Trade creation is where, say for example, NAFTA just now, America, Mexico and Canada. A trade creation is where if they buy among themselves, they can buy cheaper than they buy from outside. But if a trade diversion occurs, if they buy among themselves, it is actually more expensive than they buy from outside, but they actually cannot buy from outside because of the agreement they have signed. So this is why people do not like regional integration. Now, across the world, there are many regional integration, right? I can give you several examples. For example, you have in Europe called the European Union. Right? Long history and big structure of European Union. Probably the biggest in the world. Right? In the Americas, you have several. Now, America is divided into two hemispheres, the Southern and the Northern America. Now, in the Americas, the northern side, you have NAFTA. NAFTA consists of three countries: USA, Canada, and Mexico. And then you have the Southern Hemisphere, the South Americans, where you have the Indian community, Mercosur, Central American Common Market, CAFTA, and the CARICOM. Now, you also have some regional economic integration in Asia. For example, the most famous one, or probably the most talked about, is ASEAN. Right? And you also have APEC. Now, APEC could be as big as European Union, because it consists of Asia, ASEAN mostly, and America and China put together. Right? And you have less known, the SAARC. Now, you also have in Africa, it's a EAC, but in Africa, the efforts to regionally or economically integrate has not been very successful. Mainly because they are, more concerned about famine. Now, you have to actually do away with all these problems of famine, economic problems. Then only you can regionally, economically integrate. You got to solve the basic problems first. That's why in Africa, it has not been very successful. All right, so that's the end of chapter 8. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Okay, and please do the assignment and answer the quizzes. Bye.